Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another edition of Running the Bases. I'm your host, Michael Carafa. I am joined today by Ryan Blank. We are ready to go for another really great show today. Breaking news today, as we find out now that the Royals have acquired outfielder Andrew Benintendi from the Boston Red Sox. This deal is not officially complete yet. I want to preface this entire show by saying that this deal is not officially complete, but we have heard that the fact that Andrew Benintendi being traded to the Red Sox is complete, but it is a little bit more in-depth than that. This is supposedly a three-team trade between the Mets, Royals, and Red Sox. So the part between the other teams aren't necessarily finalized yet, but the fact that Andrew Benintendi going to the Red Sox is finalized is true. That is what we know for right now. Any updates that we get along the rest of the show, we will be updating you on, telling you about, because obviously things have been going on for about the last 45 minutes, and I'm sure they're going to continue to progress. But right away, this is a very big deal. This starts things off in a really good way. I mean, the Royals now immediately jump into your mind as a team that could possibly be a contender this year. Ryan, this is your team. I'll let you do the breakdown.
What else can I say besides I can't be happier right now? Because here's the thing. Royals have had a hole in left field since Alex Gordon decided he was going to retire. It's a fact. And adding a guy like Andrew Benintendi is big. Gets them another left-handed bat, and it gets them a guy who's a solid fielder, as he has been a two-time Gold Glove finalist, ultimately losing both those to Gordon. But I love it. I think it's big for the Royals. I love what this team has done this offseason. They go out and do minor deals that you don't think are big, but for the team, it is. Get Mike Minor on a 2-year deal. Get Carlos Santana on a 2-year deal. Acquire Andrew Benintendi. This team is a couple years away. And I've known that. They're not there yet, but they are ready to make moves, and they're ready to get back to that point where they are contending.
Yeah, this is a pretty big deal. I mean, the Royals also, Ryan, you're echoing a little bit. I don't know what the deal is. Just mute yourself when I start to talk. But the deal with the Royals here is that they're getting a left fielder or outfielder wherever they play him for a good couple of years. He's a free agent in 2023. And I mean, at the end of this, we're going to look at this and say he's on the Royals now for 3 years. This is a smart move for the Royals getting him. Granted, he's coming off a bit of a tough season, and he's been struggling the last few years. There was a point where he was the number one prospect in baseball, and that he was really probably the highest regarded player in the game before he got called up, made it to the big leagues. He hasn't lived up to that yet, but still, we know what he can do. The major question is, will he get there? So, as I mentioned, he is a free agent in 2023. Ryan, do you think that he's going to be a Royal for the long term?
The answer to that is TBD. You don't know yet, and that's okay. You don't have to know. And here's the thing. I love having a team that doesn't spend money at some points and a team that does that. And I hate having a team that doesn't spend money at the same time. Here's the thing. I love that they went out and made this move. I think it's terrific. But at the same time, what I have to look at is that I need to see him get back to where he was a couple years ago. Because here's the deal. In 2019, he had 266. Last year, he only played 14 games before a season-ending rib injury. But look where he was in 2018. Hit 290 with 16 home runs and 87 RBIs. That is what I want. And if he can get to where he was, heck yeah, he's going to be there for the long term. Of course, the Royals do have to look at next year as well. Salvi's a free agent. They got to lock up Salvi, which is going to be key. If they can get – and, of course, there's arbitration for – gosh, why – for Benintendi. Wow. Sorry, my brain is going through a million things right now. There's arbitration for him next year. And then he's a free agent in 2023. I love how they went out and got him this year. He's getting paid 6.6, but money is being sent to the Royals to pay for that. So I love that aspect as well. I never thought I'd get to the point in my life where the Red Sox were trading a player away and money because he's getting paid too much to the Royals. So it's awesome. But again, what I have to think about overall is I think he will be a long-term Royal if he can return to where he was in 18 or even 2017. Hit 271 with 20 home runs and 90 RBIs. That's all I want. And I think he can get back there. He struggled. And then he also had an injury. I think he is still a big piece because they got that left-handed bat that they've needed. So yes, I think he's going to be a Royal long-term.
And now this really came out of left field. I mean, I didn't expect this to happen.
Left field.
Wasn't on purpose. This did literally come out of left field, though, where we had no clue that he was going to be traded to the Royals. We heard a few weeks ago that he might get traded, and that we were kind of expecting that. But the Royals weren't necessarily really talked about in that. And for this to kind of come together at the last minute is kind of a surprise for the Royals, who aren't necessarily in divisional contention right now. They're going to have to fight for probably a wild card spot in the next maybe 2 years, but they're not really there yet. So the thing that I think they're going with here in terms of him being a long-term Royal, I think you're completely right. It depends. I think if he plays well these next 3 years, he gets to be a Royal long-term. And if not, to say, okay, well, we had you for a couple of years to be there in our little intermittent phase.
Well, I also think that even if he has a year this year where he bounced back after the injury, you give him that deal. But, of course, Salvi is first. So, and here's the thing. I'm going to mention the lineup real quick with the Royals. There's only two questionable spaces, and that's center field and second base. You got Witten right. You've got Mondi at short, Dozier at third, Salvi at catcher, Santana at first. Now Benintendi in left field, and Santana and who was the last one I was forgetting? No, I think I said them all.
Soler
at DH. Thank you. I knew I was forgetting one aspect of the lineup, and that's perfect. I love how they are getting to the point where they are ready to make moves to where they will be in contention. Of course, there's going to be some money that has to be dished out, but of course, I'm used to a Royals organization that would never make this type of trade and ever pay a guy like Carlos Santana. I love that John Sherman's willing to do that. That means he doesn't want to have a losing franchise. I'm loving that piece as well. The question comes at center field and second base. Can Nicky Lopez be that guy? And the Royals signed Hanser Alberto to a minor league contract. He could make that the roster, and he's going to be competition for Lopez. Lopez has the glove. He has the defense. Can he get the offense going? That's the question with him. The Royals need him to get the bat going to where he could be a guy late in the order who can get on base. So that is my thing with Nicky Lopez and center field. It's going to be between Edward Olivares and Michael A. Taylor, who the Royals signed earlier this offseason. There's competition there, but also I would not mind the Royals going out and adding a veteran to compete there. So there's pieces there in center field. They have to decide who they want to go to. And I think that translates into what you wanted to go into next, what the Royals do the rest of the offseason. I think they could look to add another outfielder. No big names, like I've said, Jackie Bradley Jr., even though there's a connection now. There's a connection. I don't think it's happening anymore. Did I ever really think it was going to happen? No, it was me manifesting and wishing it. But overall, I think they could go out and sign a guy to compete for the center field role, not a big name by any means, just a veteran who could help and play some meaningful innings out there. Also, bullpen. The rotation set, and I like what the rotation looks like. It's probably going to be Duffy, Junis, Keller, Bubic, and Singer. Or they put Minor in there and move Junis or Duffy to the bullpen. It's one of those two. And I like that. It's not something to ride home to mom about how crazy it is. There's a lot of young talent there that just has to develop. And I think that's really nice. I think that's going to be just fine. The bullpen is where I think they're going to need to add another arm or two. They got Holland. They still got Stalmont. They still got Jesse Hahn. And they added Wade Davis on a minor league deal. If he makes the roster, there's another guy. So they just need another bullpen arm or two, and then I think they're pretty much set for this year. Of course, do I think they're going to be a team that's going to be fighting to win the AL Central and really fighting for a playoff spot? No, I don't expect that. I expect them to be closer to competing. I think this trade puts the Royals from a 70-win team to closer to an 80-win team. For sure. And I really think that this is going to be a team that's going to get third in the division. And then continuously build and build. Once you get Bobby Witt and Asa Lacy, this could be a team that is easily fighting for not just second, but could maybe give the White Sox a run for their money at the top of the division and also be fighting for a wild card spot. So, yes, I think it's very minor things. Just add a couple arms. That's it.
Well, that was as I expected, a very nice long answer for the last two things I wanted to address for the show.
What do you expect from me? Gosh, it's like I can't please you, man. I'm really happy. You're trying to kick me down.
No, I want you to be happy.
You tried to by getting involved in the deal with your Mets, but that's besides the point.
Well, we don't know what the deal's with that, so we're not going to talk about that. But for what the Royals do the rest of the offseason, I think there's a couple clear things here. Like you mentioned, the outfield. I think center field, the guy that the Royals could look at would be Cameron Maybin. I think that's a name that could be a veteran outfielder. He hasn't hit very well. He can come cheap and just kind of train that outfield. I also think that it's important to add veteran names along the lines of, like I said, Maybin. But I also think that the Royals really need to upgrade either the rotation or the bullpen, one of the two. The rotation looks good, but they could possibly add.
They're touching the rotation. There's no way they do it. They're happy with where it's at. It's what I'm thinking, because look at the names that are out there. Top one's Jake Odorizzi. I don't think the Royals are going to take that flyer on him.
I was thinking more Julio Teheran level.
I have always been a fan of Julio Teheran. I have been. And trust me, I would love to have him back. Not back. I'd love to have him join the team. Sorry, I was looking at something else that gave me nostalgia. Kelvin Herrera.
Yes.
But no, I don't think that the Royals take a flyer on him. I'd love to have him. I'd love to see him be a type of guy who's fighting for a rotation spot, or even a guy that gets into the bullpen and in the long relief area. I'd like that, but I just don't see it happening right now unless it comes cheap. But I'm looking at it right now. There's a lot of talent out there in the bullpen. A guy like Shane Green piques my interest. Of course he does. Do I think the Royals try to get him? No. I'd love for the Royals to get him, of course. And I also would love to see them try to get a guy like, you're going to get mad when I say it, Justin Wilson. I want another lefty guy in there because there's not a lot of lefties in there.
You can go for Tony Watson, too.
There, I think would be nice to have. So there's pieces that I really like. There's pieces that I think need to be adjusted, like getting some more depth in that bullpen. But I'm not going to worry about that right now. I'm going to be happy that they just got their left fielder for the imminent future and maybe for the long term. But, of course, I'm still going to look ahead and say, yeah, they still have stuff they have to do. And it's the bullpen. I don't think they need to go out and sign a guy to be in the rotation. I think they need to go get someone or a couple arms for the bullpen. That's what I think.
I agree. And I think that some bullpen names that you could possibly see being talked about, David Phelps could be a guy that the Royals possibly target, a more lower price point but veteran arm. I just think that veterans are something that they need to work on. Obviously, this is not a team that's going to win now. I think that the Royals are currently really a lock for third place.
Here's the thing. If I'm to cut you off, with your veteran presence, I know you like that with leadership. I talked to the Royals field broadcaster a couple days ago, and he and I agreed. They've got the leadership. They got Santana that they brought in. They've got Salvi, and this has been Whit Merrifield's team the past couple years. I'm not worried as much leadership. Of course, I do want a couple veteran arms for the bullpen, but leadership-wise, I don't think they necessarily need to go out and get that.
I was thinking more in terms of just having more. I mean, the more veterans, the merrier. You can't really be hurt with more veterans there. So I just think that it would benefit them to get a guy like David Phelps or Cameron Maben and just kind of throw out there and say, okay, well, we've got these guys. We're just going to throw them in there and have them help out a little bit. And I really don't think it'll be a bad thing. You could even see them maybe going for some real depth in, getting a guy like Sergio Romo or Oliver Perez, some guys are at the end of their career who are super veterans. So I think all around, this is just going to be the rest of the offseason. I mean, the Royals right now, not much they can do to bring them to second place. And I think it's going to require a lot from the Tigers and the other who's the other? Wow, I'm really blanking on who the other team in the AL Central is. But the Tigers. Yes. Oh, wow. The Indians and the Tigers. I think the Indians and the Tigers are really, I think now we've been questioning are the Royals and Indians kind of at a tie, and we kind of had the Royals at maybe a step behind the Indians barely. But I think now this pretty much solidifies the Royals as the number 3 team in that division, which is good for them. I mean, this is a team that we kind of thought was going to be dying away for a little while, similarly to the Tigers. I mean, you look at the Tigers, who have been really in the same spot the Royals are in now since 2014, 2015, and they really don't have any signs of stopping in the near future. So I think for the Royals to do this now, they're clearly showing signs of wanting to get there. The new ownership has taken over, and they are finally saying, okay, well, we took a year to really develop ourselves, get ourselves into the door, and now let's try and make this team more formidable. We don't want to be – it's all about money. They're not going to get sales for tickets with the team that they had out on the field this year, but they could get sales for tickets this year.
They definitely would have. They definitely would have gotten me to go to games. Well, that's just me.
Well, yeah, that's you.
Diehard Royals fans, I would have gone. But here's the thing. This is a team that's ready to compete. I love what they've done this offseason by getting some mid-level to higher-level names like Santana and Minor and Benintendi, because this is a small market team who's ready to win, who's aiming to win. And I love that. I am tired of watching a team who won the World Series roughly 6 years ago to now. That's not what I want to see. I don't want to wait another 25 years for a World Series.
I agree.
This is where the Royals frustrated me with David Glass. Yes, the man is a hero. He saved baseball in Kansas City, but he was not willing to open up his checkbook to make things happen. This is where John Sherman will be different, and he's proven to be different by making a deal to get Benintendi and signing those guys. I also have to give credit to the general manager, Dayton Moore. I've always been a big fan of his. I think he's done a terrific job since he joined the team. He said he was ready to make moves, willing that the owner was ready as well, and he is, and I'm loving it. Keep making moves. Keep getting this team closer to contention, because here's the thing, small market or not, the Royals can compete. They can get there. Make the moves to get them there without the long overhaul.
It's going to be a big question as to what they do going forward. And obviously there's more going on in this trade that we don't have really information about. I wish we had more formal agreements on that, but we have heard that the Mets are involved as well. Obviously, I don't really want to talk about something that's not official.
Well, I do want to talk about the pieces that are pretty much set in place. With the Royals trading away Khalil Lee and Franchi Cordero. If that's okay. If you don't want to talk about it, we don't have to.
No, we can. That's fine. I want to preface it with it's just possible at the moment. We don't know for a fact.
Yeah. As for what we have heard and what has been reported, Franchi Cordero and Khalil Lee are gone from the Royals. The Royals acquired Cordero last year from the Padres when they traded away Tim Hill. Didn't really show much. Got hurt. So that's one guy that I was suspect on, but I still had some high hopes for. He's going to the Red Sox, which any day of the week I would make a trade of Franchi Cordero for Andrew Benintendi, who is only 2 months older than Cordero. That's one piece. Khalil Lee's the other one. Royals number 9 prospect, as you said earlier, Michael.
I think it was 8, actually. It was 8 or 9.
It's 8 or 9. I believe it's 9, but I can always check that. And I think that with him, he's got a lot of pop in his bat, and a lot of potential. But I don't know where he would have really fit, especially because he's been stagnant in the minors for a few years. And of course, he could have been that guy to take over center field. He could have been. But they've also got Sully Matias, Pena. They've got a lot of other guys down there. And Edward Olivares proved that he can be a big piece of the team after they acquired him in the Rosenthal trade. So I think that it is okay to trade away a guy like Khalil Lee when you're getting a guy like Benintendi in return.
Number 8. He was a number 8.
Number 8. Okay. Regardless, I think it is worth it if you get the Andrew Benintendi that's going to give you 20 home runs, bat 270 and 90 RBIs. I'm fine with that. And you're seeing a lot of teams like the Padres giving up prospects to make moves to get them closer to contending for the title. I'm ready to see the Royals do it, and that's what they did.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Obviously, there's going to be a lot going on between the Royals and going forward. I mean, obviously the Royals are not there yet, but like you said, they're going to get there eventually. So we'll have to wait and see. Unfortunately, we don't have more details on this trade. I wish we did, but like you said, we've got 2 prospects that we know going from the Royals. We know that the Mets have traded 1 prospect that they got in the Steven Matz trade to the Red Sox. So we haven't really heard much else after that. I just want to put it out there that this trade in general right now is not guaranteed to happen. This is not confirmed. It's not official. But as of right now, it seems like the Benintendi part of the trade is, and we know the players that are supposed to be involved. We won't be here doing an update show when it's official. This is just our talking about the show in preparation for that to take place. So thank you all for tuning on in today. We hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you hit that notification bell. We've heard that there's a lot going on in the trade market that could be landing in the next couple of days. We've heard the Mets have talked about some upgrades possibly at third base. They've eyed Chris Bryant and Eugenio Suarez. That could possibly be happening in the next day or so. So in general, we have seen a lot of things going on between a lot of teams. Make sure that you are subscribed and have notifications on to know that we are going live when these deals happen. We will be going live as soon as we possibly can with all of these deals. So thank you so much for tuning on in, and we will see you guys all next time.